Hi, my name is Trevor, and this is by far the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. This happened in May of this year. I'm a 22-year-old male who's in pretty good shape, and I'm a first responder, so I've seen and dealt with pretty much everything. I live with my parents in an upper-middle-class community. The town I live in has very little to no crime in it. So here's my story. My parents left to go to Florida to visit some family, and basically left me and my German Shepherd dog alone for the week. A quick layout of the house. It's 2 stories, with my parents' room on the first floor. Anyways, it's night out, and I'm sleeping in my parents' room with my dog. The bed is between 2 windows with screens on them. They were both opened. It's about 2 a.m. and I'm just getting ready to fall asleep when I wake up to the sounds of screaming. I think nothing of it since there's a lot of kids in the area who are always out. But about 10 minutes later, I hear the same screaming again, which woke my dog up, and he was also alerted. I still think nothing of it. Another 10 minutes, the screaming happens again, and I noticed it wasn't a child scream, and it was only one person. It was a loud screaming, sounded like someone was getting stabbed. My dog starts huffing and totally freaking out. I'm now scared shitless and unable to move. 5 minutes later, and the screaming was right outside the window. It was so loud this time that my ears started ringing. My dog flips absolute shit, and I'm having a panic attack. I look out the window, and I see some old woman with long gray hair, and she was still screaming. I finally jump into action, and I grab my dad's pistol. The only bad thing is that it was a revolver, and it had no bullets, so I had to pray she thought it was loaded. I went back to the window, and now she was gone. I dialed 911, and as soon as the operator answered, I then heard the front door glass break. I ran over, and I see this old woman reaching into the window trying to unlock it. The scariest part of all of this was that her arm was rubbing right against the broken glass, cutting her very deep, but she wasn't even reacting to it. She was giving me the 1,000-yard stare while laughing and screaming. I'm literally crying at this point, and I had pointed the gun right at her. She sees the gun, and then just starts yelling.
Do it! I dare you!
And as much as I wanted to, I couldn't since I had no bullets. And then suddenly, I then see lights going down my street. The woman pulls her arm away and starts walking back slowly while still staring at me and laughing. I can then hear the cops yelling, "Drop the knife, ma'am!" The cops took my statement, and I later found out that she was actually a psych patient who had escaped the hospital, and that she even broke into a trailer nearby and stabbed a couple. The last I heard, they were okay, but why my house out of all the others? I had my door fixed and all the blood cleaned up. My parents later called me because they had heard that there was a break-in in the area. I had to tell them it was our house, but to not worry. To that crazy old who tried stabbing me, I hope you're getting the proper care and help that you need. This happened when I was 15. I was visiting my dad for the weekend, as I tend to do often. My half-brother lives with them, and we're very close, and I consider him a full brother. We usually don't do much when I'm over at my father's house. We just hang out and have a good time. Me and my brother play video games in his room mostly, and this time was no different, until later in the story. Earlier in the day, my dad had some friends over, and we were all outside. We were playing some basketball in the back with all the adults. I had overheard my dad telling them how a few weeks earlier, one of his acquaintances came up to my brother's window and had tried to take out the new AC that my dad had just installed. My dad punched him a few times and injured his hand doing so. We all thought the situation was pretty funny, and we had a little laugh about it, and that was pretty much the end of it. A couple of hours later, everyone left, and we went inside while my brother put his dog in the outdoor cage. He usually stays out there for a couple of hours. Keep that in mind, because it'll be important later. That night, our dad had let us know that he was going to be going out for a few hours, and he gave us the usual spiel. Don't open the door for anyone you don't know. Remember to bring the dog back inside, and don't f*** anything up. And yes, those were his exact words. We gave him the okay, and he was off. Me and my brother were in his room playing some video games and watching some YouTube when the doorbell rang. Me and him just looked at each other, and I told him to go look out the window next to the door and see who it was. I continued playing the game, and I heard my brother open the door. So I assumed it was someone we knew. About a minute went by when I heard it close again, and my brother walked back into the room. I had asked him who it was, and he told me it was Roy. He was the one who my dad beat up. At that point, I was getting a little nervous, and I got upset with my brother for even opening the door for him after what he did. I was confused, and I had asked him why he did that. I had told him what happened, and his face then turned into a look of worry. I then asked my brother what he was talking to Roy about. He went on to explain that Roy had asked if our dad was home. Unfortunately, my brother said no, and Roy just left without saying a word. I can't blame my brother for telling him, because he didn't know at the time. My brother then ran to the kitchen and grabbed 2 knives just to be safe. We closed the bedroom door and we continued playing games. About 15 minutes later, we thought we heard some noises coming from outside. Now, we had the window cracked open because it was summer, and my brother's room always got boiling hot. We both walked over and then slightly peeled open the curtains, but we didn't see anything. We just blamed it on the paranoia getting to us, and then one of the scariest moments of my life then happened. The bag motion sensor light turned on, and the dog started to bark extremely loud, as if the barks were directed at something or someone. Me and my brother's eyes grew 10 times in size. Not only did we forget the dog, but there was something in the backyard. We knew it was a person due to the Roy situation, and the fact that it takes a lot of movement to activate the motion light. We tried to wait it out to see if the dog would start barking, but it didn't. So we then knew we had to go out there and get him. With knives in hand, both me and my brother carefully made our way outside. I was watching him in the door while I grabbed the dog. The dog was facing away from the house deeper into the yard where the light didn't hit, so we knew where whoever was out there was. Just as my brother got the dog untied and was about to run back inside, Roy jumped out from the darkness with a hatchet from my dad's shed, running full speed toward my brother. I screamed at him to look out, but he caught his arm, as my brother struggled to keep Roy from lowering the hatchet onto him. I then ran over and slit Roy's arm with a knife. He dropped the hatchet and then screamed in pain. Me, my brother, and the dog all ran inside and locked everything down. We considered calling the police, but in the end, we decided not to. It would just be one of those things that we always kept between us and no one else. But nonetheless, this is still one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me and my brother, and I really hope no one else has to experience anything like it.